What is the thing called? All right, and we're live. All right, so good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining again at our monthly query research progress update. So, yeah, our high-level goal is still exactly the same as the past couple of months. So in order to hide away the complexities of reading and writing for application developers, we investigate efficient read-write abstraction layers for interacting with decentralized data. So we still have the same people working on research in this area. Brian and Jitse are not here today because they are on a research visit, so they won't be presenting. And Martin is also not presenting today because he got back from holidays. But Ruben, Jonni, Elias, and myself have some slides. All right. So format's still exactly the same as before. So first we present high-level goal, then accomplishments of the last month, and then targets for the next month. And we can start with Jonni.
Okay, so my current high-level goal is to still investigate client-side query optimization techniques that hopefully wouldn't rely on server-side implementations, so that they could be a bit more portable. Yeah, and the last month, I actually didn't join the previous meeting, and not sure about the one before that because I was on holiday. But before going on holiday, I worked on basically the client-side federation of queries for the Wikidata thing, because Wikidata split their graphs. So I made a small paper about it for the Wikidata workshop on how to, well, not how to, but like how the current automated source assignment approaches work, or how they don't work for running the queries without manually adjusting them for the split. And that took most of my time. Then I also fixed some bugs, or some bugs and also some shortcomings in algorithm and implementation in Communica. For example, the splendid approach wasn't issuing ask queries to verify source assignments using void. Now it does, and it also verifies all other estimate-based source assignments to make sure that the assignments are as accurate as possible if the server supports, or if the source supports ask queries. And then I also added support for the property feature in Sparkle service description, which came out during a project where Communica was failing to assign triple patterns to their appropriate sources because it thought that the data didn't exist because the predicates don't actually exist in the data. And then I also finished and submitted writing-wise a journal paper for the Semantic Web Journal. It's currently under review. I have to check if there have been any reviews posted, but probably not yet. And yeah, then I enjoyed my holidays. And then within the next month or so, my plan is to basically just look into ways to improve performance of querying over both linked data documents and Sparkle endpoints, especially when discovering Sparkle endpoints on the fly. And if it's not possible to assign larger parts of the query to the Sparkle endpoint, for example, then how to improve the performance of doing things on a triple pattern level. Like, is it even possible? I will be looking into that.
And do you already have any plans at the moment? Ideas?
I have some ideas, but they are mostly things that have to do with the implementation. So I will have a look at the implementation and then try some prototyping. because, for example, if you have if you would initially start on a triple pattern level, but by the time you find a Sparkle endpoint, some of the patterns don't have any matches, then maybe it would be possible to group them during execution time and set them there, something like that. It's just one idea. It probably won't work, but
yeah, maybe we can discuss it later. I don't see exactly how it would work, but yeah, we can discuss later.
But it feels like you cannot really do a lot of grouping beforehand if you have no idea what's going to be where.
That's true.
So
yeah, you have to take some assumptions or discover information about assumptions that you can make.
And the assumptions are going to be pretty significant, I guess.
All right. Any other questions for Jonni? All right, then we can continue with Ruben.
All right, my goal is still the same. I want to optimize link traversal queries using some client-side optimization approaches. And then personalized means that we use the fact that it's client-side. So we have one client using one engine. We want to sort of use that history of usage of the engine. The last couple of months, I guess, I've been, I got the paper accepted that I talked about in previous meetings, ISWC, so that's pretty cool. I've been working on the camera ready, and we'll start working on the presentation, obviously, because that needs to be done. Then for the benchmarking of caching approaches and other client-side engines, I am working on a benchmark that has a sequence of queries instead of singular queries, and these sequences have patterns in them that are inspired by real-world query patterns. I finished basically the implementation of generation of these sequences, but and added it to the benchmark runner that we have. I'm pretty sure it works, but there's some weird configuration issues, mainly with the components. I'm pretty sure it's because I'm using my own namespace to publish these packages, and they're not really the real packages yet because it's a sort of development version. But I can't really prove it because it doesn't work right now. I still need to have some configurations because it's all configurable, but that is to do. And then I started implementing stems in Communica because I want to do adaptive query processing, mainly also for, as Jonni is doing, using bigger groups of triple patterns or basic graph patterns in the query plan. And I figured that a good way to enable this, if it's even possible, is to have very adaptive query planning. So I implemented stems. When benchmarking it, I went down a rabbit hole in the sense that I saw some weird behavior and I tried to figure out why. But then I found that actually the limit is not terminating the traversal part of the query. Then I found out when trying to fix that, I found a significant performance regression that is unrelated to the limit fix, I thought. And then when I fixed that, I saw another performance sort of difference or regression in the benchmarking. And so I went down this rabbit hole of different problems. But I've been going out of the rabbit hole. That's in the next slide, because when I made the slides, I wasn't out of it yet. But it seems that the performance regression is mainly in total time taken, the sort of unrelated to the ones I've already fixed. And that one we can sort of ignore because the timestamps are quicker. Then that showed that my limit fix actually works. So the limit now terminates the traversal and all other queries still behave the same. And then the next step is to show that this limit fix means that actually that was the problem that I saw in adaptive query processing, and that my implementation is actually correct, I hope, but I'm not sure if it is. And then finally, my next start will be then to benchmark that adaptive query processing approach and hopefully show it's faster and cooler than what we're doing now. Also, I want to sort of completely finish this configuration for the query sequence benchmark and have all these refinement patterns, which are just small changes to the current templates that can happen in a row to simulate a user refining their query because they don't like the results. And then using this sort of complete query benchmark, I want to fix the caching-based query planning that I have in linked traversal. There's some small change I need to do, and benchmark it and show where the performance lies on this sort of spectrum of random query executions and repeated query executions. I showed it somewhere in the middle, and that it's a nice benchmark to use for caching approaches, and that's sort of realistic. So that would be the targets.
Cool. So did you already start rerunning the benchmarks after the limit fix?
No, not yet. Yesterday I worked on modernizing the caching code because you said you wanted to look at it. So I think I would get it up to date.
Yeah, and maybe after this we can have a look at it.
Sure.
Good. Any other questions for me?
Yes. What are the stems exactly? I know it's from the eddies probably. But...
Yeah, it's sort of triple pattern operators. It's a half join where they keep track of all data that comes from the triple pattern, and every other piece of data from other triple patterns has to be sent to each stem operator representing one triple pattern. And if you go past all of them, you have a full join instance.
Yeah. Okay.
Which means they can individually route them or in batches.
Okay. And what is the performance hit when you actually use eddies or these stems then compared to just doing how Communica does it now?
I think it's twice as slow in the same sort of plan. So if you do routing, I'm not entirely sure exactly, but there was a micro benchmark I did. But it seems in preliminary results that had some mistakes. It seems a lot faster for some queries.
Yeah, okay.
Even if
for linked traversal.
For linked traversal. Yeah, it's linked traversal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For linked because the plan is not that great probably. So then adaptive is probably good.
But the 2 times slower was in base Communica, right?
Yes, it was in base Communica when you compare the same plan, but one through the sort of stems operators and the other one just have a plan that's sort of pre-configured.
No. And
this makes sense.
And we figured out that the main reason for that is that stems can only use binary joins, while Communica uses a lot of bind joins, which are not considered in or cannot be considered in stems.
I think that could be the reason.
Well,
because I thought
it might be the reason.
I thought locally that bind joins wouldn't be that much faster than it is. Okay. So I mean, like it's in very rare case, not rare cases, but in very specific cases where the bind join is actually faster.
Yeah. So, you saw the same behavior when you were doing your reinforcement learning related.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The bind join is pretty good, but I feel like it's pretty optimal in the sense that if you fill in the query and you look at the cardinalities, you can make a sort of locally optimal plan per filled-in query, which is pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's also compared to joint sampling, was the main one. It was pretty similar in terms of actual intermediate results, while joint sampling takes a lot longer to actually sample all those joints and see the performance. So that's pretty good. Cool.
All right. Unless there are any other questions, let us go to Elias.
Sure. So since last month, I've changed my high-level goal slightly, more just rethinking how I want to put emphasis on different parts because it's a big goal. But I reworded this a little bit in that I'm still looking at genomic data storage, and I'm still looking at like personal genomic data storage. But now I'm going to focus more on looking at like lower than file level granular privacy protections that enable data queryability and data shareability. So similar to my previous goal, but I'm more leaning into looking at granularizing these things within what's normally just a file.
What do you mean with sub-file level?
So normally genomic data is represented as a file, and I'm looking at breaking up that file into something like an RDF representation and then enforcing these privacy protections and actually doing the querying below that. So over small subsets of this normal file.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It's what I had in mind for your goal, but it's good to be explicit.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah, and then what I've worked on other than sort of thinking about making things more clear, I have been updating and finishing Solid Cockpit which is something that I've been talking about a lot in these meetings. I've been working on it for quite a while, but it's basically just a UI for users to interact with the SolidPod and in some novel ways. So it allows for the execution of queries, Sparkle queries over the data in your SolidPod, but also over data in Sparkle endpoints using Communica. And then what Solid Cockpit does that's quite cool is it allows you to cache query results in your SolidPod so that you can have better provenance of like when that query was executed and what the exact results were, so that because Sparkle endpoints commonly update and you don't know when they update, you can look back and see the specific results that you got from a specific query and maybe compare it to new updated queries. But that's one of the things that I implemented in Solid Cockpit. And so we also then went and did a feature branch of Communica to allow for this caching functionality within a more node-based or CLI or CLI environment, just to reach more potential users. So that is available in Communica now. I did finish that. I didn't update the loading bar, but that's finished. I think Brian plans on looking more into optimizing and allowing for more complex usage of that functionality in the future. So stay tuned for that. And then as a part of this query caching, I also formalized a specification for how this sort of container with these previous Sparkle queries should look so that it can be used in a sort of standardized, regularized way. That's available at that link. It's just hosted on GitHub. It's a work in progress, but it has most of the things there as a foundation at the moment. These were all requirements for our triple consortium that finished up or finishes up today or tomorrow at the end of September. So yeah, I plan on expanding work on Solid Cockpit a little bit in the future and exploring publication things. We'll get into that on the next slide. But other than that, most of those things are pretty finished. Then I've been working, oh wait, two more. I've been working on data collection for this real world federated query surveys, kind of taking a backseat because of the deadlines this month for other things. But it's going. I have made my way into using different algorithms for the federation, and the data is being generated slowly. And then I have a review paper that was sent for review and has come back. So now I need to address the reviews and then resend it to the journal, and hopefully it'll be published. That would be cool. But that rebuttal is due on the 10th of October. So I'm working very hard right now on that.
So the data collection is going on in the background then?
Yeah, it's just whenever I have a free little bit of time. Yeah.
But I mean, nothing is running at the moment.
Intermittently things are running because it's not a lot of work to just put it on the virtual wall and let it run. It's just that I want to assess the results from each run to make sure that it went properly and that there aren't any bugs or anything, because I don't want to just be using these Sparkle endpoints and computation for no reason.
Of course.
And then my next target, so get this scoping review paper published. That would be cool. Then get Solid Cockpit nice and polished, and then explore some conference targets. Mainly something where it can be usage based, so you encourage usage by the community. And then with that comes polishing and putting it into a very development nice container so that people can use it. And then hopefully someday I will get to looking at this actual conversion of genomic data into RDF format, which I plan to do this last month, but lots of deadlines. So hopefully we'll get to that this coming month, and then finish up the data collection for this federated query survey, and then start finalizing the paper and publication goals as well.
Yeah. So I guess after October 10th.
Yes. We can focus on those last two a bit more.
Yeah. what target were we planning again for the?
We were tentatively looking at ESWC for Solid Cockpit as a resource paper. But yeah, it's just
in the Federation.
we were maybe looking at VLDB depending on how our results look like. But yeah, there's plenty of time for that because it's a rolling sort of application process. But.
Good. Any questions for Elias?
I will hopefully have some interesting things to talk about with genomic data representation as RDF next month. So, foreshadowing.
All right. Let us go out to myself. We're already there. So my goal is still the same. So supporting all of you in your research so that we can achieve efficient read-write abstractions over decentralized data. So these last couple of months, I didn't present any slides myself during these last monthly meetings because I was mainly focusing on proposal writing. But that's mostly done now. 2 more deadlines later this week, but then it's done for this year, I hope. But these last couple of days, I've been doing some more work in the context of the RDF and Sparkle working group. Mainly prepared some slides for the upcoming tutorial at ISWC about the new stuff in RDF and Sparkle. Then I also opened up a bunch of pull requests related to comparison of triple terms in Sparkle and small fix of the spec tests. Then I think it was last week, did some minor bug fixes in Communica and then also released a new version 4.4.1. That's the latest we're at now. So my next targets for the RDF and Sparkle working group, I want to add some more spec tests for the version keyword, but for that I'm waiting on Jits's new parser to be integrated, which should happen soon, I suspect. And then I want to also start preparing Communica version 5.0 because there are a number of breaking changes that are waiting. The main one being RDF and Sparkle 1.2. The branch has been ready for quite a while already, but this has been on hold due to the specs still being a bit volatile, but the RDF and Sparkle specs should go into candidate recommendation somewhere in the next couple of months. So I'm planning to release Communica version 5.0 then. So besides RDF and Sparkle 1.2, the plan is to also integrate the migration to the new parser and algebra from Jitse, which is mostly done. There are a couple of minor things that we need to look into still. And then I also want to apply some smaller breaking changes. Well, some are not so small, mainly the link queue, for example, related to link traversal, because the link queue, it's implemented in a very hacky way. So I want to, decouple or take out that part because it's very integrated in some of the codes right now, and it causes a lot of weird issues, as Ruben has been fighting with these last couple of weeks. So decoupling that should make things a lot better. And then I also want to, or at least if there's still time left, I want to look into improving the ways that service keywords are handled in Communica, because now, if you manually add a service clause in your query, Communica sees it as something different compared to Communica doing source selection automatically based on the sources you provide at the start of your query. So conceptually they are the same, but Communica sees them as different things internally, which makes it so that some optimizations are never applied for services, which is not great. So yeah, there's no reason why these should be two different things. So I want to tweak some things in their internal handling so that they are represented in the same way, so that all of the optimizations also apply there. But I don't expect that to be a lot of work, but it will be a breaking change. So that's why it's for 5.0. And yeah, those are my next targets. Any questions from anyone? Yes.
Will it finally be possible in version 5.0 to have every single link traversal source separately, but are they still going to be grouped in the streaming store aggregates thing? Like,
what do you mean by having that separately?
In the sense that you could have individual sources when disabling the aggregate store, but then multiple triple patterns should also access those exact same sources, because there were some issues with.
Well, the plan is the aggregate store will become default, so there will be no way to disable it. Like the only reason why you can't disable it right now is because there are problems with the aggregate store. But yeah, with the refactor, they will be resolved. So aggregate store will become default. So if you do link traversal and you, for example, supply 3 seed IRIs, the plan is to group them in a single link traversal store, or however we are going to call it. And there is a single link queue attached to that source. And also a single aggregate store. And then query planning is based on that single link traversal source. So that's the plan. Makes sense?
Yes.
Any other general comments or questions? All right. Then we're done for today. So the next progress update should be October 21. Let me just quickly check my agenda to double check that, because that's shortly before ISWC. Yeah, should be fine. All right. Thanks all for joining, and meet again in 1 month. Bye-bye.